I'm Yulia, the voice of the podcast Love to Heal, a journey of self-discovery, healing, and spiritual growth. My intention for this episode is to demonstrate that there are many ways, many paths to spiritual enlightenment and healing. By presenting to you my own experience with many healing modalities like yoga, meditation, energy work, quantum healing, hypnosis technique, affirmations, etc., it is my hope that people will be inspired to seek that which resonates with them. I will often include my opinion on these various healing techniques, but please know, just because something didn't work for me doesn't mean it won't work for you. Or just because I don't agree with a modality doesn't mean you shouldn't try it for yourself. So please join me for the episode to follow dedicated to energy healing. Keep an open mind and a soul filled with divine love. In an episode titled Better Together, I mentioned that one of my new friends from a recent spiritual meetup is getting certified in the Silvers healing modality, which is similar to Reiki in that the healer uses their hands as scanning devices to identify energy blocks within the client's body and remaps their energetic state. My friend Irina is just now getting certified in level 2 of this modality, but she already has been practicing on her family and friends, and she was looking for more people to practice on, so I volunteered my husband and my stepdaughter, because my stepdaughter has been having pains in her back, and my husband has been having pains in his elbow. So I thought it would be a good opportunity for my friend to practice on them, and then also hopefully for my family to get some benefits out of this. So we went to her house where she has her studio. I watched her work, and it was really, really interesting. She worked with the meridians of the body, unblocking stuck energy. Perhaps you've heard of meridians if you've tried acupuncture or some other form of Asian medicine. I've even experienced this in several Asian nail salons where they massage the feet during a pedicure, and then they kind of hit the heels of the feet with their fist, and then they pull and snap all the toes. This technique is supposed to help release energy out of the meridian channels and move stagnant energy. In short, there are 12 standard meridians divided into yin and yang groups. And what Silver's healing modality teaches is to utilize the Vedic breath. This is a type of yogic breath, and various other techniques to open these meridians or energy channels, which calms the nervous system and quickly reduces pain. When I watched my friend do this, she would close her eyes and sort of guide the energy by blowing air softly from her lips. Then she would clap her hands after working with each of the energy channels. And this sound and vibration of clapping, what it does is it removes negative energy from the patient and from the surroundings of the patient. During the session, both my husband and stepdaughter felt some relief. But unfortunately, the pain did return. Irina is still learning, and eventually she'll be able to relieve pain and all types of illnesses long term. But right now, she was just able to help relieve the pain temporarily, which is better than nothing. But she suggested that we attend one of her teacher's online group healing sessions because her teacher, Candace Silvers, the creator of this healing modality, is able to remotely heal all sorts of ailments, including cancer, and even making people walk that come in wheelchairs to the session. Sometimes it does take more than one session, but the results are astonishing. So my stepdaughter attended one of these sessions, and again, she felt some relief, but It turned out that her back pain actually originates in her hips, where many emotions and childhood traumas are trapped. So now she's working on identifying those subconsciously trapped emotions and releasing them through therapy and hip opening exercises. Soon after this session, Candace Silver was offering a free global healing session. So I decided to attend it too because I was curious to see it firsthand, and also it was free, so why not? Since I didn't have any pain to work with during the Zoom session, I decided just to be an observer and take notes. So let me share with you what I jotted down. I joined the Zoom meeting about 10 minutes early, and I actually caught the end of Candace Silvers. I think it was just a pre-recorded motivational speech of some sort, but I found it very, well, motivational. She spoke about offering ourselves to a worthy cause, which takes us to a different dimension where we feel energetic and fearless. She talked about the importance of losing our mind in order to gain our true self. This was very familiar to me because I've spoken on my podcast about doing what our soul desires and how when we are in alignment with our higher self, we receive so much divine energy that we become unstoppable and very successful. She also explained that culturally we are reactive people and we need to learn to be more proactive. We need to learn to conquer. As we risk, our body secretes these sort of juices, if you will, that keep us young and that cause life. She finished by asking the audience if we want life more than safety. These 10 minutes that I accidentally got to hear really inspired me, and I was excited to join the meeting to follow. So now, the session began with Candace explaining some basic information on how energy healing works, how we're all connected and constantly co-creating. Even through Zoom, we can feel each other's energy and heal. It was neat to see Candace live, just working from a hotel room. She actually travels a lot. She told us if we wanted to see her for an in-person healing, we could catch her in Peru the following week or in Italy the week after that. She also announced that she will be retiring from teaching the first level of her academy and kind of slowing down in general. Candace is in her early 60s and she's been doing this for over 40 years. She has many students all over the world and is now able to hand off some of her training to them. What she did first is she tested the energy reception by blowing gently on the screen and asked if people felt a sort of wind on their face. At this point, several hundred people had joined the call, and many were responding that yes, they felt some sort of breeze. I personally did not feel anything, but I completely trust that other people did feel something because I know for some reason, energetically, I don't feel a lot for some reason, but I have friends that feel a lot. And they're so surprised that I don't feel anything. But some people feel heat. Some people feel a tingling sensation. Some people feel a breeze. So I believe them. I think it is absolutely true. It's just, I think some people, like me, don't experience that. And that's okay. On the call, there were several assistants that monitored people's comments and took note of their ailments that they wished to heal. They asked everyone to turn on their camera and make sure that the body part needing healing is visible in the camera. Candace asked for volunteers to work with her directly and explained that even when she's working with someone in particular, everyone is getting healed at the same time because we're all energetically connected. So, out of many people that volunteered, the first lady she chose was this young woman who had lower back pain. She asked her to turn her back to the camera and started using her hands and breath to relieve her pain. She would ask the woman every couple of minutes if the pain was subsiding, using a scale of 0 to 10. She had started at about a 5. The pain level was at about a 5, and by the end of the mini session that lasted about 10 minutes, I would say, she went down to about a 2. Candace explained that the effects of the healing actually continue for 24 to 48 hours after the session, and that sometimes the pain becomes even stronger before it goes away completely. Also, if the pain didn't go away during the first session, it is a good idea to repeat the healing. Oftentimes, it does take several tries to get to the root of the pain because blocks in energy can be anywhere. If the head hurts, for instance, the block may not be in the head area, but rather somewhere in the spine or even legs, since everything in the body is also interconnected. And in the case of the woman's back pain, Candace used her intuition and she worked on the ankles and other parts of the body that directly affect the back. Another volunteer that was chosen had a headache and brain fog. To this woman, Candace recommended detoxing to try and figure out where her inflammation is coming from. She also thought it may be an environmental issue. And actually, my friend Irina, the one that's taking the courses from Candace Silvers, she had a similar situation. She had migraines for years. And then when she started working with Candace Silvers, Candace was able to identify through intuition that her migraines were actually stemming from an environmental toxin. And so Irina tried to eliminate any kind of toxin at work. Actually, Candace said that it was specifically at work. And she found that once she stopped using a simple hand soap at her work, her migraines went away for good. So this is really interesting too, that sometimes our pains and our ailments may be due to some kind of toxin around us, some kind of environmental imbalance, if you will. So it also really helps to work with healers that are able to intuitively guide you in the right direction. So the lady with brain fog, she felt some relief, but she would need to continue to search for the root cause of her ailment. As Candace worked on each volunteer, I have to say I was really impressed with her medical terminology and knowledge of the human body. While she healed, she shared interesting information about energy work, about human potential, different dimensions, faith, and a lot more. Somewhere around the 1 hour mark, the whole call was scheduled for 2 hours. Candace decided to do a chakra cleaning and balancing exercise. So what she did is she had all of us stand in front of the camera and she went chakra by chakra, cleaning each one with her hands. She would first hold her hands almost still, feeling and sending the energy to us, I guess. That's how I would explain it. And then she would use one of the hands to sort of create a vortex in the air, if you will, to clean the particular chakra. She asked if people were feeling sensations throughout this exercise, and many people reported feeling a burning sensation in the hands or tingling, or sometimes it was cold. So people felt different sensations. I did feel some warmth in my hands, but that's about it. I know other people felt it through each chakra going up the spine, and some people felt tingling or cold or heat all the way up through the crown chakra, even above the head. So then Candace explained that chakra balancing should be done on a regular basis, once a week optimally, that it's easy for us to get out of balance. The way that we can get out of balance is when we experience too much stress, for example, or when there's poor physical alignment or posture, or when we eat unhealthy foods. Also, when we experience persistent negative emotions, for example, this will cause our chakras to get out of balance. When the chakras are balanced, this helps us sleep better. It helps with digestion. It helps with overthinking and overall well-being. Again, I can't say that I felt anything go on in my body, but I did feel happy and light, and I completely enjoyed the experience. Candace is more powerful in person, but there are hundreds, maybe thousands of people that swear by her remote healing. And later on, I also watched a recording of one of her live healing sessions. And the patient really did walk away pain-free after an energy surgery. And this is truly amazing. I think it's wonderful if it works for you. I think that a lot of people can definitely benefit from this type of energy work. I just personally don't completely resonate with this type of healing. Maybe because when I was introduced to the spiritual healing processes, I was introduced to the one that I'm most familiar with, the one that works with your subconscious, the one that works with your past lives, the one that works by changing your character and by learning to love unconditionally. Maybe because that was my beginning and my first love, so to speak, I resonate more with that. I'm not sure, but in my understanding and from what I've been studying over the past few years, disease is given to us for a very specific reason. It's not a punishment, right? But rather it's a sign, a clue that something is not right with our soul. Or perhaps we're not moving in the right direction in life. Or perhaps we are experiencing too many negative emotions. Whatever it is, we must get to the root cause of the issue and then change from the inside. So, for instance, if, let's say, cancer is given to a person who has years of resentment in their soul, and then we cut that cancer out or we take that cancer away energetically, but the person continues to hate someone or be mad at someone, then what was the purpose of curing that person if they didn't change from the inside? What is the purpose if they didn't understand why the disease was given to them in the first place? Or they didn't want to become a better person, or they didn't want to forgive someone? If no change occurs in the person's outlook on life, if he or she didn't learn the lesson of unconditional love, didn't learn to accept the disease as a gift from God to evolve spiritually, then the disease will either come back or change in nature, or come back as a misfortune, or will be passed down a generation or two. I believe this is what may have happened to me. My mom is a survivor of one of the deadliest cancers, melanoma. She went through surgery and massive radiation treatments right after I was born. I'm very thankful to the doctors that helped her survive, but since they only addressed her body, forgetting the soul, to this day, almost 40 years later, this cancer haunts her. Every year, she goes under the knife to cut out yet another piece of her. And this can be anywhere on the body. A few years ago, I too was diagnosed with basal cell carcinoma, which, thank God, is the least aggressive form of skin cancer. I honestly think this was passed down to me from my mom because kids are so tightly connected to their mothers energetically. It's as if I'd inherited my mom's unresolved issues and traumas. But also, thankfully, when I had the operation on my back, which, by the way, is in the same spot where my mom's cancer had begun when she was my age. Remember, there are no coincidences in life. Thankfully, around that time, I was starting on my spiritual journey, and I wasn't very scared. I trusted the process of life. I knew that everything would be fine. I knew that already this disease was pushing me to learn something about myself, to dig a little deeper. I've been going to my dermatologist bi-yearly, so twice a year, for body scans for over 5 years now, and I am cancer-free. My mom, by the way, started to see her surgeon less often as well when she became my podcast fan and my theory supporter. We were just talking about this with my mom the other day, and I really think we see a connection between my mom becoming more spiritual and frequenting the surgeon less and less. I guess the main point I want to make is that we should seek treatment without a doubt. And we can choose anything from traditional medicine to non-traditional medicine, modalities, whatever it may be, whatever speaks to you, as long as we also address the soul. We must remember that we're not just bodies. We must treat the soul first of all. And then, by changing from the inside out, by changing our character or belief system, for instance, we can guarantee that the disease won't come back or that it won't pass on to our children and grandchildren. As author and philosopher Sergei Lazarev points out, since it's written in the Old Testament that man was created by God, that God breathed the soul of man into his material shell, we must remember that the soul is primary in relation to the body. Life first appeared at the soul level and only then began to acquire physical form. This is important to understand because a person is able to communicate with the Creator not through consciousness, not through the body, but rather through the soul. The soul is nourished by divine energy, by divine love. When a person's soul is filled with love, when it's harmonious and feels unity with the Creator, then the soul has energy, energy of the future, physical energy, and energy of the present, which supports health, happiness, and success. Thus, treating and eliminating a person's symptoms, if there is no change, may be useless if the person's energy levels are low due to lack of love in the soul. In the wonderful book, The Body Code, that actually my friend Irina also gave me to read, Dr. Bradley Nelson explains that love is the number one ingredient or step to the healing process. Love is central because it is the energy by which transformation and healing occur. And Deepak Chopra once said, "The use of love is to heal. When it flows without effort from the depth of the self, love creates health. And when you feel love for yourself and everyone and everything around you, and especially love for the source that makes this all possible, You become a conduit of light from the divine. What is needed for one's soul to fill with love? Well, to rid oneself of the most offensive and damaging feeling, such as hate, judgment, and fear. Furthermore, a person recovers not just when his past is resolved and lessons have been learned, but rather when the next similar lesson comes around and the person responds differently, with love. Repentance does not simply mean removing the past, but actually changing the present and future. Instead of traditionally looking at disease as evil and something to destroy, we should learn to see it as a partner with whom we have a common goal. If we understand what the disease wants or needs, and we give it that which she needs, it will go away on its own. If you can understand that disease pushes you to change your character, nutrition, lifestyle, and worldview, you will see it as a gift from God and use it to become a better, healthier, happier person. So again, this is how I view disease personally. This is what has been working for me on my spiritual journey. And that's the type of healing that I have chosen, to change from the inside out, to heal from the inside out through unconditional love. But everyone's journey is different, and everyone must choose what resonates with them. I think that as long as the end goal is love, then any path is valid and right. I hope that you found today's episode interesting and useful, and I hope that you share it with your friends and family or anyone that is in need of some spiritual guidance. And today I would like to leave you with a quote by Dr. Wayne Dyer. Enjoy it, and until next time. There is no greater power in heaven or on earth than pure, unconditional love. The nature of the God force, the unseen intelligence in all things, which causes the material world and is in the center of both the spiritual and physical plane, is best described as pure, unconditional love.